Hey everyone. So I ummed and ahed about this video. On one hand, a single glance through YouTube thumbnails tells me you can easily make millions of gold with literally any profession. But on the other hand, my own experience, coupled with chatting to others, has been slightly different. And I'm starting to think that most players don't actually have gold cap and they don't actually make 150,000 gold per hour. It's actually just a tiny minority of players that do. So I used one single solitary million as a stretch target here for most people, but maybe for you, that thumbnail should be about making your first 100,000 gold or making your first 50,000 gold. Just whatever suits you, have that as your first target. So, to get going, then, we're going to have a quick look at some different ways to make gold, some of which are actually just playing the game, some of them are a little bit more in depth. Starting then with playing the game. You don't need to farm gold, you just need to play and keep an eye out for anything that's worth selling. You can install an add on like Trade Skill Master, and that will give you an approximate value on the tooltip of things to tell you. So you can have a little look at them and say, okay, that is apparently worth 18,000 gold and it's got a good sale rate. And make a point of, all right, well, I don't want to vendor that. I want to put that on the auction house. If you're leveling your character, choose an expansion to focus on. There's a really good Wowhead guide that shows you mounts and pets on a per expansion basis. I'm going to link it in the description. It covers all of the crafted mounts and pets. So when you're leveling, you can focus a little bit on gathering up what you need to craft these. Maybe choose some that are particularly appealing to you as well, so you can make one for yourself too. And then craft and sell these items while you're leveling. Do some dungeons, pick up the old green items. They are incredibly good for transmog. Whichever professions you choose for pets and mounts, check if there's any transmogs that you can craft as well. Old trade materials are often worth as much as the new trade materials. Look at engineering, for example. The cost of fell iron bolts right now is crazy. While leveling, squeeze as much value from those two profession slots as you possibly can. And don't forget as well to look at things like cooking. Next up, then, while still playing the actual game, is playing PvP and grinding honor. So, for someone who might not be a natural gold maker, the ability to grind out some honor, which you can then trade for gold, is insanely good. Fair enough, PvP isn't always fun for everyone, especially if you're being hammered over and over again. I get that. But it's a great way to improve your character's gear, and also you can get some practice actually playing the character too. I generally recommend if you aren't confident enough to go into like 10-player battlegrounds, just go into the 40-player ones. These with 40 people, no one's likely to notice you. Well, maybe if you get 15 plus deaths or something, they would. But that's obviously never happened to me, right? The honor payouts for winning are pretty generous, especially if you do the quests. And with your honor, you can choose to buy a recipe or a pattern at 7,500 honor each, or a vicious bloodstone at 2,500 honor. The recipes and bloodstones all have a decent sales rate. The recipes ever so slightly higher though. The problem I see with recipes is that you might be tempted to go from server to server to make your sale at the best price, which, while this is easy, it's a little bit annoying to track, and it does take this method of gold making away from just playing the game and into firm goblin territory. The next big way to make your first million gold is going to be farming. Herbing and mining are still really strong at the moment. Loads of you who have been putting up with me for a while now will probably remember how bad I am at farming. I go into the zone, but it's not the farming zone. It's usually the zone of whatever I'm watching on YouTube, or right now, Trailer Park Boys, which I have seen before, but it's still more gripping than finding that herb node. I've got to be the only person whose productivity plummeted with the addition of a second screen. If you can focus though, herbing and mining are great for gold, and they can be relaxing for some people too, so I've heard. The good farmers say they get around 100,000 gold per hour. If you're sloppy, slow, and distracted like me, you can probably expect around 50,000 gold per hour, which is still fine. So if you set aside 1 hour of farming twice a week, it would take you 10 weeks to reach 1 million gold, which, assuming if I get this video out today and you watch it today, takes you to Christmas. That's pretty cool, right? So what then? If you just can't be bothered, you want gold, but you hate leveling, you get far too triggered in PvP, farming makes your eyes go blurry, and besides all that, you're actually really busy. Well, that's where shuffles come into things. Shuffles are the ultimate AFK gold making tool. A good shuffle should yield around 20% profit on investment, and it should be expandable. The auction house cut comes out your 20%. I'm going to show you a few today and I'm working on a couple more. So, big disclaimer here, you need to check prices on the day for yourself to see if this is actually profitable or worth your time that day. First, then we have basically beef going into portion steak. You do need to level and get tools here. I have a video just on this process that I'll link you in the description. Alternatively, still with cooking though, you have cinder bee belly that you can turn into portion steak. You also get hot honeycomb in the process. Now, the cinder bee is particularly good if you have skinning, as you can join one of the cinder bee skinning groups and you can get cinder bee belly as a side product. So, fair enough, skinning isn't AFK, but if you are going to do the cinder bee thing, keep that one in mind. Next, if you have tailoring, you can unravel cloth. This is a long process that's completely hands off, so it's great for when you're busy with something else. To make unraveling work, you need to pick up the tailoring epic bag and specialize into textiles and resourcefulness. This isn't the most exciting or the most lucrative, but it is one of the most consistent AFK shuffles. So I'm hoping I've given you a few ideas to get started with today. If you just pick up one or two things that suit you and your playstyle, you'll have your first million goal before you know it. Thank you so much for watching today. I really hope you found this video useful. If you did, then please do take a moment to like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Bye.